So thank you for being here today. The topic I picked today is, I feel like a big one, um, called love. But before we start thinking about, Valentine's Day and chocolates and red-colored teddy bears and hearts, that's actually not the love I want to talk about. The love I want to talk about today really speaks to when we sit in meditation. Because when we take that time, we carve it out of our busy, busy lives in this busy, busy world, and we're able to sit for a few moments with eternity, we're really allowing ourselves to be able to get in touch with the love that eternity is. And this love is quite awesome if you feel like you've had some inkling of it and have experienced it. And why it's so awesome is because this love that eternity has for you and how it's experienced through your life is greater than how you could even love yourself. It's greater and beyond all of kind of our human discrepancies. A lot of times we feel like, oh, if we have our significant other in our lives, we feel like we give them a lot of love. But if you can even for a moment imagine beyond that, someone, something, a presence loving you through and beyond all of your pain and all of your hurts, all of your defense mechanisms, your coping mechanisms. The love that is there eternally and never leaves or parts from you. It's always there. And sometimes we may feel like there's some kind of a separation with that love. And really, it's not that it's absent or away from our lives. It's really the mind and our egos that kind of spin us into this really, really tight world and this tight place that we're not able to feel it or experience it or touch it in our lives. Kind of think of that, really familiar, popular poem where you see it's like, I think from Christianity, where you see footprints in the sand, and there are two pairs of footprints, and it's Jesus Christ, the teacher, this really great loving being, with this other individual, man or woman. And at one point during this person's life, during their most difficult challenges, they only see one set of footprints in the sand. And the individual feels that, this great presence of love in their life, their teacher or eternity or whatever you want to call it, abandoned them during that time. And as you read on, you come to find out that it wasn't the case at all. It was actually when that loving being, that presence, actually carried them during the most challenging times, and they were not aware of that because they were so in their suffering or pain or whatever, confusion, whatever that mind state is that allows you to kind of be so sucked into that world and forget about everything else. So in this place of love that we sit and experience whenever we sit in meditation, it changes us and it restructures us kind of on an energetic level. And when it does change us, if you can even imagine yourself being in this presence, this great presence of love, during the moments of your meditation, that when you come out of the meditation, you can take that experience with you, and you can move through your life, and you can move through the world in such a way where you might begin to change some of your thought processes, some of the way you interact with others, maybe how you interact with yourself. Maybe the language and the words that you speak to others becomes a little bit different and changes, and maybe the language and the thoughts that you think to yourself become a little bit different. And over time, when we practice this sitting meditation, sitting with eternity, it grows, and it develops this also love within ourselves. And of course, sometimes we fall on our faces, and of course we have some pains and oohs and ahs, and we kind of cry like little children, and we have to kind of pick ourselves up. But every time you get back onto the meditation cushion, there's peace there that you can reconnect with. And that peace is really important, especially in the world that we live in today. In such that it's not that you experience that love and peace that is beyond anything that we can describe in words and hoarding it for ourselves. It's not about, sitting at home meditating and like, I'm going to tell nobody about my meditation practice. I'm just going to be in my awesome, peaceful place and get so super high and happy. And when I go out in the world, I'm just going to be, I don't know, covert about it. I don't know what the word is. That is not what I would suggest in how to approach the practice. When you have something so beautiful and great, sure, it's natural that you want to protect it. Sure, it's natural that you want to be very specific on how you share it and who you share it with. I think that's intelligent, and I think that's good discrimination. But then on the other side of this practice is not being on the meditation cushion and being out in the world. And especially in today's day, with the just times that we're living in, which is just this period of time, there is a lot of suffering out there. There's a lot of anger and violence and aggression. And because that is out there, it really takes the strength and the spirit of a warrior to be able to take this beautiful, amazing practice of your meditation out into the world. So if you're doing it in such a way with kind of a warrior spirit, it's not that you have, puppies and sunshine experience on your meditation cushion, and you go out and you tell the whole world, oh my gosh, puppies and sunshine. You might get a little run over. So it's just a little cautionary thing. You have to be able to further polish this warrior spirit within yourself in such that you are very clear and keen on how you share the puppy sunshine kind of a concept. And sometimes the way it looks to the physical eye is it looks like tough love. It looks like you're being really firm, that someone would think, my gosh, that person practices meditation. God, they seem like a little rude. Wouldn't they be like all loving? Yeah, they would think you're mean. They expect you to let everyone cut in front of you or something like that. You're like, well, geez, if that happened, how do I get my shopping done? How do you get things done in your life? So it's a balance of really developing the love that you have experienced in meditation and putting it out into the world, into your own life, into your relationships. And that can be challenging, very challenging at times. Speaking to your question of kind of patience around, our life. And something I've been working on is not so much focusing so heavily on the patience side as much as looking more at the tolerance side. there's really such a piece of when we meditate and we have this beautiful experience, and we don't want bloodshed or pain in the world. We don't want to see other people suffering. It pains us when we see that because we know there's another way. And some people just aren't necessarily ready for that experience in their life. They, for whatever reason, that's just not their time. And so we have to be able to cultivate a tolerance from a very loving space from our practice as we engage or interact to whatever extent with these individuals in our lives. And that tolerance piece is, I almost want to say it's an advanced practice. I don't know. Maybe it's an elementary practice, but it feels very advanced for me because of the fact that when we meditate and we feel all this wonderful things, on the other side of it is when we get off the meditation cushion, we also feel just as strongly all the suffering and all that really heavy, with the new Star Wars movie coming out, we feel the dark side. We really do. And so in feeling that dark side, and it's uncomfortable for us to experience, and it doesn't feel good, it's natural to want to alleviate that with, okay, just shine some light on it, and here's, pop a happy pill and then go on your merry way. And the thing about our practice is it's not like Western medication. It's not like you pop a pill and you feel better in 3 hours. Because actually, the way the Western medication works is, I feel a lot of those like Dayquil, NyQuil pills, they only dampen what your own symptoms are, just to kind of buffer the suffering, if you will, until your system is able to heal itself. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes back to your own system having to process the bacteria and so forth like that to be able to come back to balance. On the other side, so with that being said, of it not kind of being a quick fix, this practice is really a practice for a way of life. And a way of life isn't just one day, it's a whole lifetime and maybe multiple lifetimes. And so when we engage the practice in that way, that warrior spirit really comes to mind, because you're having to push on, you have to have endurance, you have to have courage when you feel like this is the 100th millionth time that you've been doing this, or it's the 100th millionth time that you've fallen on your face, or you've gone angry, or you lashed out at someone. It's always coming back and having the courage to do that, to have the determination, the devotion, and essentially it comes down to the very, very root of it, the love that eternity has for you, that you also can strive to meet it, as best you can with what you have and where you're at. Any questions on that? That was like huge. Dump of information. If there's no questions, we can marinate on it a little bit more and meditate. So when we take the time to tap into this awesome resource, this tool, this well of eternity and her love, it really allows you to kind of recenter yourself from the day, kind of zeroes you out so you kind of can start with a clean slate, also allowing you to kind of recalibrate from whatever maybe knocked you off center earlier and whatever interactions you had during your day. One of the many reasons that we practice, and so important, that when we do, it becomes like our anchor, for a little tugboat, when the waves get really turbulent. Gives you a really solid anchor to kind of keep you steady and allow you to weather the storm. And at the same time, it has the ability to allow you to don scuba diving gear so that you can dive into the oceans, you can go deeper, so you can settle down into the depths where it's calm, where even if the turbulent waves are happening and it's the perfect storm occurring on the surface, if you're able to dive a little bit deeper into the ocean's depth, there's peace and calm there. It's kind of amazing. Questions? One of the reasons that we use music in this practice is, I would feel like, a tool that has been put into place because of the day and the age that we live in. Because it's noisy out there. It's getting noisier. So, like the parable, when a man who gets a thorn in his foot, from walking, you have to take another thorn to kind of wedge out the current thorn in your foot. Kind of a similar concept with regards to music. Form of noise. And the music is of your preference. If you're just kind of beginning your practice, you might want to start out with music that doesn't have words in it, so that you're allowed to focus on the music and the notes and kind of be able to notice when your thoughts are coming in during the meditation. Kind of, you can work with kind of pushing the thoughts out to give yourself that space. And then over time, you can bring in words and music that has things where they make you feel like you can dive deeper into that silent stillness. It's kind of an amazing experience. You have music that's noisy in the world that's even noisier outside, and all of a sudden, poof, there's a moment of absolute stillness and quiet just within yourself. And it's a cool experience to have, in that you become aware that it's possible and it's there, and that you have the capacity to tap into that yourself. And so just perpetuates this really beautiful, wonderful practice, cycle, path, whatever it is. Ah! Yeah, yeah. I was going on for a while, and I was like, well, I think this is just how it's going to be for the whole song. Okay.
It was kind of part of it. It was interesting. Well, yeah, it's fun how you can kind of just trick your mind. It's like, it's all part of the music.
Yes.
Yeah. But one music of the world.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. So thank you so much for coming today. I know it's not always easy to make it through the door. Life provides its challenges of ever more things. So thank you for coming, making space for yourself.
This afternoon, we have our volunteer meeting.